in a competition. I don't think I need that.
Alright.
In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, after hearing my speech for 5 to 7 minutes, if you want to think outside the box, you want new tricks to impress your boss, if you want new jokes to entertain your friends, or if you want new tricks to get your girlfriends or boyfriends, all you have to do is follow the 3 steps I introduced in my speech to think outside of the box. Do you remember my first step?
Pizza.
Wait, second step. Okay, does anybody remember my third step?
No.
Guys, you guys forgot my speech? I mean, God, I stood up here to talk for 5 to 7 minutes and none of you remember my speech.
I'm sorry.
None of it? Not even what, the first part? Not even the first one?
I'm sorry.
Guys, seriously, this is a speech. You guys are the audience. You guys have to pay attention.
I'm sorry.
I'll keep going on, but I have to tell you, I am very disappointed.
I'm sorry.
But anyways, as long as you learn how to think outside of the box, you can learn to change the way you think, turn your perspective, and learn how to do things differently. So now, come to the end of my speech. Thank you all for listening, although you forgot my speech. So, thank you. Now for my third part. Now the third part is the final part of thinking outside of the box. And the third part is, change it. Everybody repeat it with me. Change it.
Change it.
Now, what exactly do you change? A lot of people, they come up with ideas all of the time, but occasionally they're not really good ideas. Let me give a few examples. Well, a bad example and a good example. Now, a whole bunch of really, really smart people, they tried to come together to come up with a really, really super glue. They put all the time, they put all the money and effort into it, but what they came up with is a really, really not so super glue. So what happened? They actually use a glue, stick a huge bunch of papers together, and you come up with a poster. Now, at first you start with the hard glue, which probably can stick anything to it, but then they failed. So what they did is they changed their way of thinking. Not so super glue, put a few papers together, and then you get simple papers that you can just tear off, post on something, and write little reminders of it. Another idea that is turned from bad to good. Now, remember Isaac Newton. When Isaac Newton was sitting on the bottom of the tree, an apple fell on his head. Now, if I was Isaac Newton, I'd say like, apple hit my head, bad tree. That's all I would have thought of. But instead, he actually changed his way of thinking. Well, I would think he changed his way of thinking from apple hit his head into why did this apple fall into his head? He asked the why, and then he came up with the idea of gravity. So that is why sometimes changing your way of thinking in certain ideas, you can turn a bad idea into a good one. Now I finished with my speech, so now we'll connect to my second part. Now, when you're trying to think outside of the box, it's almost like walking in a huge crowd. I mean, imagine in Taipei, you're walking on the MRT, you know those really, really crowded places. A whole bunch of people is moving in one direction. And what if you're all the way on this side, and then you see the blue line over there, and then you have to reach over there. And you have to go like, oh, sorry, whoa, 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 ow.
You okay?
Ouch. I always do that in every speech, I'm experienced. Oh. Yeah. Ouch. Every time you try to walk through a crowd, you'll meet with different obstacles. Let's look at it again, but in slow motion. When you want to go in a different direction than everybody else, you might occasionally step on people's foot. People might brush you off in the wrong way, and people might push you, and and occasionally you fall. But I got to exactly where I wanted to be. Sometimes when you want to go into a different direction, the most important thing is you have to know you'll be met with obstacles. You'll actually be blocked by many people, and you'll face many problems. You take 5 times the effort to go a different direction than to go the same direction as everybody else. But the payoff is you get to go exactly where you want to. A lot of people try to go into different directions in the past. I mean, like people who came up with maybe allowing women to have education, or people who came up with makeup for guys. Yeah, that's a good idea.
What can you
Use makeup. But anyway, learning how to turn different ideas, turning perspectives, is very important in thinking outside of the box. Now everybody repeat it with me. The second step of thinking outside of the box is turn it. Turn it. Yes. Now we're going to go to my first part. Now, when you want to start to think outside of the box, first you have to educate yourself. Why do you have to educate yourself? Let's take a musician, Beethoven, for example. Beethoven came up with symphonies and great music, but he didn't just start off with zero. He had to learn the basics. So what do you do when you have to learn music? First you have to learn the notes, you have to learn tempo. I think Richard knows more about music than I do, but you have to learn the different types of music. I mean, if you're Beethoven, you want to come up with a symphony for like 6 or 10 different types of music, you have to learn all the songs and all the music, all the instruments first before you can come up with great music. So you have to learn the basics, otherwise Beethoven would have come up with Symphony No. 9 with maybe pots and pans or rocks and sticks. But the basic thing is, before you want to learn how to think outside the box, you have to keep learning. You have to continue to feed your mind. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Like, for example, when I first came to Toastmasters, I didn't came to Toastmasters mostly to improve my English. But then I came to the first convention. The convention in Toastmasters is like a huge competition for all the Toastmasters in Taiwan, where the best speakers go up on stage. And in my first convention, I saw a speaker named Sammy Su. Now, you can go online and check out her videos. Her speeches are excellent, they're great, they're perfect. But most importantly, she comes up with her speech, little simple hand gestures and one-word phrases which actually inspire entire audiences. And you can also look up another Toastmaster called David LaCroix. David LaCroix is one of the most entertaining Toastmasters in the world. He actually came up with his own way to entertain the audience. And he also came up with the speech where I first saw this move. Ow. I think that one hurt a little, but yeah. So, if you want to learn how to think outside the box, you have to first see how other people do things differently. So now, after my first part, we will go to fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, Toastmaster of the evening. My name is Peter Ju. I'm probably the most experienced member here. But today I'm going to teach you guys how to think outside of the box. And thinking outside of the box, when you first think about it, what do you think of? Wait, how did you know that?
I'm sorry.
Did you steal my speech?
I'm sorry.
Wait. Do you know the 3-step method? Do you know what's the third step of thinking outside of the box?
Change it.
I'm sorry.
Okay guys, this is not fair. Like, all of you guys stole my speech. You stole my speech right before I said my speech. This is not fair, guys. Come on. Fine, I'll keep going with my entire speech, even though you guys know it already. This is not fair. You guys are cheaters.
I'm sorry.
But anyways, after I will talk about my entire speech, I hope you all can learn how to think differently, learn how to do things differently than everybody else, where you can probably turn even an opening into a conclusion. Hi.